Irresistible. This is a comedy written and directed by a personal hero of mine, Jon Stewart. I mean, whether you agree with his politics or not, this is a man who changed television. He changed how we consume political commentary and how we consume political comedy. I think he's a true genius, and I was very excited about this movie because there has never been a more appropriate time in America for a film like this. There has never been a better time for us to watch a film entirely about the ugliness of the political system, the awfulness of the political system. It is a perfect time in America to watch a film that just heaves two giant middle fingers at politics. That would be beautiful. And this ain't the movie that does that. And I'm really disappointed by this. I actually came out of it, I was kind of heartbroken by this movie. Even though it didn't get good reviews, I believed in Jon Stewart. I think he's an extremely talented man, and this cast is wonderful. How does this movie not work? Well, I'm going to tell you. I will start off with some good. These performances are fine. The actors are all believable, a bit too believable in certain aspects. I'll talk about that when I get to my negatives, but performances are fine. The movie does have a fairly good look to it. It was obvious this was shot in a small town in America, and I appreciate them, not shooting it on a soundstage. And there are a few moments of good direction. I mean, there's a few moments where Jon Stewart messes with the aspect ratio when he's playing these political ads, these fake political ads on a small television screen, and the aspect ratio shrinks. I found that stylish and neat, even though they were very small moments. I brought up the performances, but one that I think is actually the standout here is Mackenzie Davis. I think she's very good. I haven't seen her in anything else. I know she was in the last Terminator movie, much like the rest of the country. I didn't see that film, but she's like the standout in here to me. I think she's very good. She's a talented actress. She has charisma. She's one of the few characters, at least till the very end, and I'll talk about that in a second, who isn't a complete phony and a complete moron. That is unfortunately where my compliments end. The biggest problems with this movie are that all the characters are completely flat. They are so one-note, cardboard cutout characters. They don't have any depth. You don't particularly enjoy watching them on screen. Steve Carell, that guy is too good at playing smarmy douchebag. Like, between Foxcatcher and The Big Short and Vice and now this, he's very believable, but almost too believable. You don't like watching him on screen. He's a vicious, malicious guy. Now that could be done well with a better script. There are movies that take inherently ugly people and make them watchable. Scorsese is a master at that, of taking these awful people and making them very enjoyable characters to watch on screen. Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman. That's one of my favorite movies, American Psycho. Patrick Bateman's evil. He's a serial killer. But Bale has this undeniable charisma and even this humor that you enjoy watching him. A recent example, a more grounded in reality example, The Social Network, which even though it's 10 years ago now, it doesn't feel that long. Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg, that is a really nasty character. He's an ugly dude. He turns on his friends. He's antisocial. And yet, Aaron Sorkin's writing and David Fincher's direction makes that character an extremely fascinating one to watch, and you can't take your eyes off of that performance. Here, all these characters are just ugly for the sake of being ugly. The writing and the direction for this film is actually quite poor because tonally, this movie is a complete mess. There's moments, especially in the beginning. I was with it in the first 10-15 minutes because it seemed like this was, a slightly over-the-top satire of politics, of the political system, of the election system. And I was like, all right, I'm with this so far. I like this little journey that we're on. But then it gets to a point where it gets so wildly zany and over the top, and it feels like you're watching a Parks and Rec episode. It's not even grounded in any sort of reality. But then it goes back to trying to be, it's this quaint little satire of the political system. Whoa, it's zany now, and all the characters are saying the F word on live television. I don't know. I don't know what he was going for. Tonally, this thing is so all over the place that you don't even enjoy watching it by the time you get to the end of it. The ending pulls off this M. Night Shyamalan-esque twist that is so out of left field and not even remotely plausible. I brought this up before. I'm willing to suspend disbelief, right? It's a movie. I can accept certain things. But dude, what they pull off at the end of this film doesn't even remotely make sense. There is one more thing about this movie that is very bad. It is not funny. This is a comedy film, and not a single moment made me laugh. I can't think of a moment that made me chuckle, and that is stunning. Because that's one thing I expected to come out of this movie with. Even if I didn't like it, even if I didn't agree with some of the things it was going for, I thought I would at least chuckle. This movie's written by Jon Stewart. This was one of the funniest men ever. And he just wrote a movie that doesn't have a single funny moment in it. That to me is what tips the scales. That to me is what takes this movie from being just kind of a below average political comedy to just kind of a miserable failure. It's not a funny movie at all. I'm disappointed because, like I said, we live right now in America in an extremely ugly time, and the political climate, both left-wing and right-wing, have a lot to do with that ugliness. And I think this was a film that this was a looping curveball set up for Jon Stewart to knock this thing out of the park, and he swung and missed. And that is where my disappointment is. I think it's a fine attempt. There's talented people involved. I want to see Jon Stewart branch out and make more movies. This is a talented guy. He is a genius. But even geniuses screw up sometimes, and this is a massive misfire. I was going to give it a 4, but then I remembered I had to dish out $20 to watch this piece of crap, so it's a 3 out of 10. And I'm very disappointed by that. And you know, look, I think there will be some people who enjoy this film, and that's fine. It is still, despite the fact, a 3 is a terrible rating, but despite the fact that it is a 3, it's a 3 because it's a colossal misfire. But I do give it credit for what it was trying to do. I think conceptually, this is a genius premise. It just falls way short. There is clear effort put into it, which I can't say about Artemis Fowl. I can't say that about Eurovision, which is a movie that for some reason, because Eurovision is an actual thing that exists, apparently that means I was supposed to like that movie. I still don't. In fact, I actually like it less the more I think about it. But there's effort put into this. Its execution is just abysmal, and it makes me very sad because I wanted to like it. Okay, that is it for this review. You can follow me on Twitter at Castellani2014. The link to my Twitter is in the description for this video. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Did you see this movie? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. Let's get those numbers up. Come on, guys. Let's get to 1,000 by the end of the year. It would be much, much appreciated. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace and happiness.